Bardella, Kurt, thanks for being here today on a Saturday. So let's look at what he just talked about. Why are libertarians inviting Trump and RFK Jr. to speak at this event?
Well, I think that they're desperate for relevance. I mean, clearly their party itself isn't a real political party. They don't have a candidate that's going to actually command any national attention, that's going to really get any votes. And so they're so desperate for just even the slightest appearance of relevancy that they're inviting really the competition. I mean, the point of a political party is to win elections. And yet this party has decided that their best chance of making an impact in the 2024 election is to play host at their own convention to the competition and to people who want to take their voters. I mean, libertarians aren't even trying to keep their own voters. They're saying, actually, we're going to outsource them to either RFK Jr. or Donald Trump.
Right. Well, the Hill's Blake Berman spoke to the Libertarian Party chair ahead of this weekend. Let's take a listen to this one.
We have been getting overlooked in a lot of the polls because a lot of our candidates, they're very good libertarians, they're very solid, but they don't have the name recognition and star power that we thought we might have in 2024. So we're doing everything we can to get them a leg up, try to get them on the same stage as Donald Trump and RFK Jr., although it's not at the same time. Right. Pulling out all the tricks, trying to make it happen.
Okay, they're trying to make it happen. Do you think that's going to work?
Not really. I mean, I was on the panel with Blake yesterday when that interview took place, so I got to watch the entirety of it. And I said yesterday, and I'll say again today. Again, if the best impact that your political party is making is having the competition on your stage, you're not a real political party. You're not relevant. You're not anything. You might as well just take out a billboard and say, really, we're the Republican National Committee light. Because that's who they're hosting. They're not hosting a broad ideological, breakdown here. These are two people that are trying to get voters from the same place. And it's almost it's like a race to the extreme, a race to the right, a race to the conspiracy when you're talking about Kennedy and Trump. So, I've never seen a political party in my life in politics use their convention for this purpose to promote somebody else. I think it's a very interesting strategy, I guess we'll call it.
Right. And I've heard that a lot of people in this party were not happy with this choice and fought back against it, saying, please don't invite others to this convention. We kind of want to do our own thing. So why would a libertarian voter be interested in a Trump as a candidate? Like, is this going to fly at all?
I mean, it really shouldn't, because ultimately the platform, if you will, that someone like Donald Trump is running on is really contrary to libertarians. Don't like government. They don't want government involved in anything. So when you have the party that's saying, actually, we want government to tell women what they can do. We want government to tell you what healthcare decisions you can make. We want government to act as an instrument of vengeance against our political opponents, which Donald Trump has repeatedly trolled and trafficked in that authoritarian type of scenario. Well, that's about as far away from libertarian as you could possibly be. So I get how actual true blue libertarian voters who are truly aligned with the substance of that party are repulsed by what they're seeing happen at their convention.
Looking at favorability among independent voters, we've got an Economist YouGov poll finding 26% of independent voters found Biden favorable compared to 39% for Trump and 31% for RFK Jr. in this year's election. So polls matter. As we get closer to November, they change. But how important of a role will independent or other party voters play for this?
Well, I think they could ultimately be the difference in what happens in this election, right? I mean, this is going to be the narrowest election that we've had potentially in American political history, at least since the 2000 election. And every vote matters. Every vote counts. And when you're talking about two figures like Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who are well established, everybody knows who they are. There's not a whole lot of new ground to uncover with either of them. So any sliver of vote that's undecided, as minute as it is, could be the difference, especially in the swing states when we're talking about places like Georgia or Nevada or Wisconsin or Ohio or Pennsylvania, Arizona. This election will be decided by tens of thousands of votes. So you have to go after every bucket of voters possible if you're Biden or Trump.
Right. Every bucket of voters. And on that, I want to ask you before you go, Biden just spoke at West Point. I know you were listening in. What'd you make of the speech? Did he make good points? Did he make a difference? What'd you think?
I think that one of the most powerful images of an incumbent is the trappings of the presidency, right? You are the commander in chief. Only the president of the United States gets to give this address at a place like West Point. And so just the mere image, especially during Memorial Day weekend, of the president up there with our military, with these cadets, with the future of our military force, really, I think that's just a great visual. A picture's worth 1,000 words. That picture of him shaking hands, saluting, and obviously, having had a son who served in the military as well, I think that's a win for him.
All right, Kurt Bardella, we want to thank you so much. We'll talk to you again soon as we continue.